Hey there, everyone. This is Dr. Yam, your Keep It Simple coach for Jumpstart Your Small Biz. Looking to see how things are working. I apologize. I'm trying out some new technology. This is fun. So let's see what we got going on. Make sure my phone is off. And today is a wonderful day. I hope you guys have had a great day. And looks like I can see things here. So I'm trying out a new tool. Once you get your business started, you get to try out new tools like I do. So it's fun. Because I turn on and train other people on it. So I'm a techie kind of gal. Anyway, good to see everyone for joining. Today, we're going to, now that you've kind of have an idea with respect to your business, like your naming and the whole thing around your domain and moving obstacles and getting things kind of in play, I thought I'd give you a bit of insight on some of your next decisions prior to going into the upcoming challenge, the ABCD challenge for Determined. And I'm going to share some information with respect to that shortly. But in preparation for you going into an upcoming challenge, this is all getting you to launch day. I thought it would be cool to kind of give you some insight around some of the decision making that you're going to be coming up as you embark on your launch for your small business. And one of the things I get a lot of questions around is, well, where do I have to have a website? I have a Facebook page. Should I have a Facebook page? Do I need a different type of Facebook page? Do I need to do all this other social media? What does that all really mean? So I thought today would be a really good opportunity to kind of have some conversation about it a bit so that you can start to wrap your head around it. So grab your biz journals wherever you are. Journal, journal, journal. All right. And let's take down a couple of notes. So what I'm going to do is take it over under 3 lanes. So why don't you take your journals out, and I want you to make 3 columns. Okay, so just one sheet of paper, just plain piece of paper, or just in your journal, just make 3 columns for yourself so you can jot these notes down and just kind of bulletize them for yourselves. So one of the things that you want to, what we're going to do is have a column. One's going to be Facebook, so that's going to be column 1. Column 2 is going to be a how do I want to call it? I think, let me see how I call here in my notes for you guys. I think it would be good to give the title of website builder. Okay. So there's going to be Facebook, website builder, and then WordPress. And what I'm going to do is kind of walk you through some of the components, or like, what is the differences or benefits between having your business page on a social media page versus having it on a website builder page, as I'll explain in a moment what that means, and then having it on a WordPress site. So look at that there in and of itself. You already start with 3 options, right? So let's think about what it means to have a internet presence from a big perspective, right? So the whole benefit is, particularly those of you who are going to be launching an online business only or service business versus those of you who are going to be maybe more service-based, but still maybe more retail front-facing type of an entity, or you have a mobile business of sort. It all still applies. And for some, it may be you have more content running on one aspect than another, but these are the 3 options that you're going to need to think about, and there's some pros and cons to each of them, and you just have to decide. Always know this: you can always change your mind. You're never tied to any one thing, but I always think it's good that you know now so that you can start to make the decisions respective of how you will go about the decision. And what I mean by that is you don't want to go so far down the road. There's, out of these 3 options, you may be able to start with one space and then you can transition over. A lot of it, again, is going to be very much related to the abundance or the amount of content that you're going to be relying on that internet presence. And there lies part of the conversation. Give me one sec. Let me just double check something on my screen here. Alrighty. How are we coming through? All right, good. Alrighty there. Awesome. Good. All right, so we got our 3 columns. So the whole conversation now is which one would best suit the needs that you have as a new business. And it's always good to have this pre-thinking now, just kind of swirling in your head. I don't want you to feel as though you're looking to make a decision today. This is just some of the thinking that you should be having as before we get started down there. So most people, as you are, probably already have a social media account. Personal ones, right? You have a Facebook, you have Twitter, you may have Instagram, you may have Pinterest, Tumblr. What am I missing? TikTok. What else am I missing? LinkedIn. Okay. And those are all social media profiles. They're all an extension of who you are as an individual. Great. Now, those same social websites do offer a business option or business existence that you can establish on those social mediums, and those are fine. They do, however, have quite a bit of limitations, and that's one of the things. So what I'm going to do is kind of break them down, each one of the components first, and then we can dig in a little deeper. So let's talk about design from a design perspective, or even I should say even creating. Let me start with that one first, really. So creating is going to be step 1. From a creation standpoint, meaning designing, right? Creating an account on social media, it's free, right? Facebook doesn't charge you, Instagram doesn't charge you, Twitter doesn't charge you to set up an account. Okay, so from setting up an account, it's free. When you look at a website builder, let me first help you understand what is a website builder. So a website builder is going to be something like a Wix, a Weebly, Squarespace, places where you can kind of go and they have very template-driven platforms where you can establish your a web presence, a web page or a website, but it's kind of semi-custom. Okay, those are free, and then they typically have what we will call a pro version. So for this particular column, from an account standpoint, I would write down free/pro with a $sign. Okay. WordPress is not free. WordPress in and of itself is kind of like it's a developer for web platform. It allows you to control everything and design anything that you want and put things up there. And you own the space yourself. You're not going through a third party. Okay? So WordPress, $sign. I wish I had my screen thingy. Maybe I'll do this again. Okay. Now, so setting up an account, those are your 3 options. From a design perspective, social media platforms, there are no custom designs. You just filling in some blanks. You don't have control of the look and the feel per se. There's no real custom designing to take place. So custom design, no on social media. On website building types of sites like Wix and Weebly and Squarespace, yeah, there's some custom design. And there's probably a lot of add-on components, some of which they typically hold back some of the really cool things you may not have the option to have access to unless you have the pro version. So there's always going to be that kind of give and take between the free version and the pro version. But you can custom design your websites for the most part. Most of the time, however, why most people choose, and I usually encourage, especially those who are trying to be lean and mean, but they're not as techy as others, then it allows you to start with a very, what we call GUI, meaning it's very user friendly type of an interface that you could just fill in blanks, click some options, and you're good to go. So there's that level of custom design. And then WordPress, totally custom. And if you're a techie person, you could do coding on the back end. Okay, so from that design point, those are the three. Now, let's talk about your data. When it comes to anything or any content that rests on side of a social media platform, you don't own, and you really have no control over that data. If you collect anything, it's sitting on that website. It's not. They turn off your account that day. They have the ability to do so. So that little terms and condition that always pops up for you to say, yeah, okay, whatever. Then yeah, that one. There's always language in there that says either if you do something wrong, or if we just want to change our minds, we can, and you can't do nothing about it. So there's nothing on a Facebook site, a Twitter site, Instagram site is really yours. Those usernames and stuff, likes and all that, friends and likes and everything, you don't own that unless you copy and paste stuff off in order to get that done. The website builder sites like Weebly and such, you have some limited control with your data. And again, a lot of that has to do with the free version versus the pro version. And again, because it's a third-party site that you're accessing, everything again is sitting on their servers and housing information there. So you do have some limitations as far as controlling of data. So unless you are yourself are backing up information like you should do with your cell phones and your contact list, you need to do something similar like that on those types of sites. When you're on a WordPress site, you have full control of the data. It's yours. You own it. You also have to place that information on a server that you pay rent to, like kind of like leasing a house. And like I kind of explained this a bit in our other thing on domain names and all. So I'm not going to get too much more into it other than you can have your own site. You just have to rent space to put it on a server. Unless you're a really, really techie person and you're going to host your own server. And that's a whole nother thing, which none of you are going to want to get into because that's just not something that you do. So full data control on a WordPress site. You with me so far? Okay. Now, next has to do with, again, I talked about being free or pay. So social media sites, they're free. And if you want privacy on some of the sites, you have to pay for the privacy. There's pro inversion, the website builder site like Weebly and Wix, they have a free, and again, they have the paid privacy version plans that you can pay for. And then WordPress, very affordable. You pay a one-time like annual cost was like $60, $80 a year. Some of these social posts, it's not that very much. And you build that into your expenses when you start building out your startup cost. Domain, remember your business web address. You do not have a business web address on the Facebook page. It's always going to be facebook.com/ and whatever you happen to name your biz page on. Okay, so you don't own it. No domain name. You can have on the website builder sites, you can have a custom designed or custom URL that you bought and point to that site, or you're going to rent space on wix.com / in the name of your business. On a WordPress site, it's your domain name only. That's because that's the only way they do it. Okay. www.keepitsimplecoach.info if you haven't been there before. Okay. Um, with respect to portability, meaning that if I put information on a Facebook page, I can't take it anywhere. It's locked in. If I put information on a Wix page or a Weebly page, it's also locked in. I can't take that information and export it out someplace. On a WordPress site, you have full data capability of portability and exporting and moving it if you needed to move it from one domain to another and change addresses and things, so that you have control over those types of things. So then you have to really ask yourself the question, is Facebook a website? Well, I mean, it does distribute content in many different formats. And you can scroll, you can have video on there, you can have your messages per se, you can buy ads, obviously, you can post. And so they want you to feel as though that having a website, a business page on Facebook is good enough. However, running a business on a Facebook page is not going to serve you well as the only presence on the internet. So I want you to be clear with respect to that. So the limitations when it comes to Facebook are things like, there's some advantages, obviously. It's certainly, if you've already been using Facebook, setting up a page and a business page is very similar in nature. You're filling in some blanks. So the ease of setting up obviously is used if you've already accustomed to setting up your first website account and end up there. And of course, people are already very accustomed to using the navigation and the layout and all those other things. So you have that. When it comes to Weebly, your website design sites, they too have, it's pretty easy to use. You're able to, again, pick out templates and setting up the account and getting things kind of lay of the land and navigation tools and stuff. Again, very easy to use. WordPress, again, fairly simple once you get started. There is, I would call it, a bit of a learning curve, because it's just totally new if you've never done it before. It was a learning curve for me, but once I understood it, I'm good to go. And I've been using it now for, I would say I'm going on maybe my third year on having WordPress. That's because I was on a Wix site. And then I decided to go full on with a WordPress site because I liked the functionality that it had. That was just me. Now, like I said before, not having, with Facebook, you can only put basic information on a page for your business. You can put your business name, you can put a tagline, your contact information, you could do the company's, you can do a little bit of your company story, or like the about page. You can put products on your page, and you can have your header image and things like that, and photographs, things along those lines. You don't have as much flexibility on the design part of it, obviously. And like I said earlier, you don't have control over what browsers can see. And that's the critical part here. When you're using a website, when you're using a social media platform for your business site only, Google and Bing do not treat it as a place that they're going to go crawl out and look for information and come back. It only does that on websites because it has to have a domain name. It's different than Facebook. So if for instance, when people go looking for information, they're not doing searches on Facebook. They're not going to say how to do X. They don't go to Facebook to do that. They go to a search engine to look up information. And there's what lies probably one of the critical pieces. You want to be seen on the internet by your potential customers, right? So with that being said, if 89 to 90% of the people on that pick up a device and are doing online searches are going to browser engines like Bing and Google, and they're not searching Facebook, what does that tell you? Then there lies part of the challenge, is that that's a downfall for you if that's the only presence that you really had. Is no one will know that it's there unless you tell them. Google's not going to tell them. Bing's not going to tell them. So it's going to be really hard to find you on those search engines, and it's just, it doesn't play into your favor very much. So unless all of your customers are going to already be on Facebook, it's not that great of an option as a sole option for your web presence. I keep repeating that. And again, Facebook does have some terms of conditions when it comes to services. And again, it goes back to, they can change their mind anytime because they're Facebook and that's what they do. So if you put everything in that one basket, you are, it's not a safe space to do it in. What I typically suggest is that it's an extension of your website and not your only presence of your website. The other thing too is, again, is that you can, controlling the conversations and being able to own it as well, meeting people, messaging, and all those other things. They can, if they wanted to, in some places at least, control content they want to be seen and not seen on their site because it's their site. So, and also you can't remove negative reviews on Facebook, no matter how many lies it may contain. They will not let you delete it. So if you have a commerce component on from your business site and somebody gives you a crappy review, you can't say click delete. Nope, cannot do. You're gonna have to really fix that. And the only way you can fix it is either putting up some content to rectify the situation or making sure that you keep your customers really, really satisfied so you don't get yourself into that knot. That'll be really hard on you. When it comes to Wix and Weebly as a part, you can control everything for the most part because you control the content. It's just a matter of, number one, that you maintain an existence. And what I typically tell people, if you're brand new and you want to get something up quick and in a hurry and you want to keep your costs low and you're not wanting to pay somebody to build you out a website, which we totally get, then you pay for the domain, and I'll get to this in more detail, but you want to have so I would always suggest your primary site could be a web design building site like a Weebly or Wix, or choosing to go to a WordPress site. And I'll talk about WordPress on a totally different isolated coaching session and bring in an expert on WordPress so you can get the understanding and the bells and the whistles about whether or not that's something you want to decide to do for yourselves. The other part to that is because if you're renting space on a Wix or a Weebly, then you just will still have your domain name, your www.yourbusiness.com can still basically get forwarded to your Wix website, which is essentially what you're doing. So you will have your web address, and then at the web address post office, you say, please forward all traffic to my Wix website, and you're done. So, and the same will hold true with a WordPress site. So have the primary sites, a website builder or a WordPress, and then have an extension of your business on Facebook so that when you are running ads or you want to just have that presence so that you can connect with people there, it's just a vehicle, but it's an extension of your business. Don't let your Facebook page be the only web presence that you have when it comes to setting up your business. That's my suggestion for you and some of the benefits of that. So hopefully you found this to be helpful, but you do want to set up business accounts. And you'll do this once you have established your domain name, because you want to do this all at the same time. It's going to be important that you come up with the business name, your domain names, and your social names in that same window so that you are ensuring that all the names are going to synchronize with each other and all play nice so that you have some level of consistency in your branding. But you want to so you can get a biz set page on Facebook, you can get a biz page on Twitter, you can get a biz page on Pinterest, and you can get a biz account on Instagram. So you'll want to set up all those social profiles for your business, because you do want to have something separate from your personal. Because how you behave on your business may not be exactly how you do on your personal social site. So you do want to have separate ones with respect to that. So as aspiring entrepreneurs, having a web presence is going to be key. And now you can start thinking about, okay, how am I going to start figuring out these little nuances that come with being a biz owner and managing and being productive in getting your business up and off the ground. So hope you found this particular coaching session to be helpful. If you have any questions with respect to those matters that I just covered, feel free to drop a note here in the comments, and we will see you on the other side. This is Dr. Yam, your Keep It Simple coach. It's been a pleasure to provide you coaching and mentoring support, and I'll see you later. Let's get busy. Bye-bye.